Warning, the views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the producer and those appearing in the show and do not necessarily represent the views of DerryCam, the town of Derry, or any of its staff or affiliates. Hi, I'm Anthony Henry. Welcome back to America's Ass. We're on episode 54. This is the first post-election episode. And yeah, we crushed it. No other way to put it. Trump easily won, fairly convincingly. Michigan was just called not too long ago.
Was it? Yeah.
Only Nevada and Arizona remain. Even if Karras takes both, we've won. Ayotte is our next governor, Kelly Ayotte. We've held the governor's seat. We've expanded majorities in both the House and Senate in New Hampshire. We've taken back the U.S. Senate, and it's looking increasingly like we're going to hold the U.S. House.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about to get into that more, but I'm here with Representative David Love. So, for anyone who doesn't know you, please take a minute to introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Anthony. Yeah, it is a great day to be a freedom-loving American. I think we dodged a lot of trouble by electing Donald Trump, and like you mentioned, all the things that go with it. Kelly Ayotte for governor, expanding our House majority. At times we were down to 2 votes, and a virtual attendance majority, and it was a tough session to go through, but the expanded Senate majority, all good stuff. We can get some serious things done now. Things that are good Republican principles. Parental choice. For schools and stuff, school choice. We need to do stuff like that. It's things that are traditionally Republican ideas and ideals, and we'll be able to get it done this time.
So I want to start with New Hampshire stuff before we get into the U.S. elections. I'll start with the state Senate. We picked up 2 seats in the state Senate. We picked up District 11, which is Shannon Shanley's seat, and the number's blanking me right now, but we flipped Donna Soucy's seat.
Yes. Yeah.
For those who don't know, Senator Donna Soucy is the Senate Democratic leader, was the Senate Democratic leader, and Victoria Sullivan knocked her out, narrowly, but knocked her out. We now have a 16-8 Republican majority in the state Senate.
It's a beautiful thing. All too often, things will go to the Senate, and it'll be a deadlock, or we'll lose by somebody jumping ship on us. But it's I'm really looking forward to a great 2 years and being able to get some good things done. Parental rights. Who in their right mind would think that the schools have jurisdiction over a child? It's my child is my child, and the parent should have the say in how the child's educated, how it's the medical care, anything like that. Somehow the state of New Hampshire just went away with that, and we've got to fix it. And I think we'll have the votes to do it now.
We're going to have the votes in both bodies.
Yes.
And staying with the Senate, it appears there might be a little bit of a battle for the Senate presidency. We know that Republicans have held the Senate, and we have at least 2 people vying for the Senate presidency, Senator Tim Lang and Senator Sharon Carson.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen there? And keep in mind, elections for this, I believe, are next week for
Yes.
Speaker and Senate President. So
Yeah.
by this time next week, we might have results.
Yeah, Sharon's been in the Senate for a long time. Tim Lang was my committee chair a couple terms ago. He's a sharp guy. Knows how to maneuver around things, and knows the political game. Like I said, he's sharp. I'd even expect a third candidate to jump in there.
I've been hearing rumblings that our own Senator Birdsell, may jump in. Although, we don't even know if any of the two that we're really hearing will do it, but
Mhm.
that's just what I'm hearing.
I really like Regina. Regina's been easy to work with, always listens, and you know, I'd certainly support her if she did that. You know.
Yeah, and we may see like a combination of the three of them in leadership. One may be Senate President, one may
Sure,
be
yeah.
Majority Leader.
And it'd probably be a good move. They're all very good, strong, you know, senators, and they really know what they're doing, and know how to get things passed.
Honestly, any of the 16 would do really good. We have a lot of strong senators now.
Sure. Mhm.
And adding Tim McGew, who has been on this show before, and Victoria Sullivan, that's two more.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And, yeah. You know, I've worked on Victoria's campaigns before. You know, when she ran for mayor and stuff. She's a great lady. I knew her before that too, but she's just a great lady. You know, good political mind. You know, she's Manchester struck gold, I think, when they elected her.
South Manchester did.
Mm.
The rest of Manchester elected Pat Long to replace longtime incumbent Lou D'Alessandro. And I just want to take a minute to say that I have talked to Lou D'Alessandro several times. One time when I was in LIAC, I just walked into his office and he was there, invited me to sit down. We just
Mhm.
talked for a good 20 minutes.
Yeah. Mhm.
He's, regardless of if you agree with him or not, and he's probably the most bipartisan of any senator,
Mhm.
I'd say, in
Yeah,
the state
he's,
on either side.
Yeah, he's voted, you know, with the Republicans on a number of bills that, you know, he couldn't justify going the other way. And, you know, he was a good guy. You know, he still is a good guy, but,
Yeah.
you know, he was a good senator, and, you know, somebody I've learned from him too. You know, you sit down and talk to him, like you said, and, you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to pay tribute to him because I think it's a big loss that he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
He's not saying I would vote for him or endorse him or anything, but he's an asset to the Senate, I
Sure.
believe,
Mhm.
to the state, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's a few other Senate seats we can analyze here. There's District 12, Senator Avard's district.
Mhm.
We thought that would come down to the wire. He got a pretty convincing win
Yeah, yes.
over Ben Meng.
Yeah, Kevin's a good senator.
He is. He's been on the show as well, and we go to the same church, so
Yeah,
I know
really.
him well.
Yeah.
And some people thought Dan Ennis would lose his seat against Stu Green. He
Mm.
beat Stu pretty convincingly as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Is there any seat I'm forgetting that was expected to be?
The rest were
Close.
all expected wins for the Republicans, I believe. You know.
One more interesting one, I guess, was 16, I think it is, with Keith Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
His opponent was Michael York, who you probably recognize the name because he was the longtime state librarian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was known as a pretty bipartisan guy, so I was
Mhm.
surprised when he ran for anything,
Yeah. Mhm.
let alone as a Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought that
as-
was interesting.
As the votes were being counted, it was pretty tight there for a little bit, and in fact, I think York had the lead on Kevin for a short time, but you know he came.
Came through.
Yeah, came through. That's it. You know?
Yeah, and we'll move on to the House. We had a lot of pickups in the House,
Yeah.
including a couple young people.
Mhm.
Two come to mind for me. James Tebow, who's been on the show before, and he will be back at some point. He's the new, I guess in England, in the House of Commons, which is their legislative body, they call the youngest member the baby of the House.
Mhm.
So I guess that's what James Tebow is
Probably
now.
will. Yeah.
18, he's representing Jason Gerhardt's former seat, Franklin Northfield. He's going to do really good, and Rochester also elected Sam Farrington, 19 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I worked with Sam on the Vivek Ramaswamy campaign, and you know, out knocking doors with him. He's a sharp kid, and you know, as far as James goes, I've spoken with him, and you know, I'm anxious to see what they can do. They're both, you know, they're sharp. They've done their homework, and you know, we'll see what they can get accomplished.
And another pickup related to this show, Matthew Pitaro won back his seat from Allison, formerly Alan Turcott. He originally was elected in 2020, lost in 2022, and he gained back his seat this time. Matthew Pitaro is also a professional wrestler known as the Politician. So I'm happy to get him back in there.
Uh-huh, yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a few more pickups that I'm not thinking about.
There's quite a few, you know.
Yeah.
That, we're just blessed to have the majority that we're going to have, and now we have to get to work.
And I think it
keep everybody together.
I think it reflects well on the leadership team because a lot of people were unhappy with both Speaker Packard and Majority Leader Osborne.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this will have an impact on the elections for Speaker next week?
I don't know where that's going. You know, I know for myself, you know, I've been leaning Sherm all the way along, and you know, I probably will continue to stay with him. But there's legitimate, you know, what's his name? Turcott. Len Turcott's a legitimate candidate for the speaker's job. He's a bright guy. You know, he's a decent leader. I've been in the committee with him, and you know, he's sharp.
Yeah, and even if Len doesn't get it, I think he would be a front runner for when the speakership is eventually retired.
Absolutely.
Reminds me of 2018. You remember Rennie Cushing?
Mm-hmm.
He challenged Steve Shurtleff for the speakership
Yes.
when Democrats
Mm-hmm.
had
Yeah.
the majority.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what the margin was, but he didn't win. Shurtleff became speaker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That could happen again because I've also heard rumblings that, assuming Sherman Packard retains the speakership, again, don't know if this is true or not, but some people are saying this will be his last one as speaker. I'm hearing that he wanted one more term where he
Mhm.
could actually get stuff done.
Sure, yeah.
Where it's
Mhm.
not deadlocked.
You
Like
know,
one more successful term before he.
He's really had a tough go of it. You know, he had the COVID session those 2 years, and
I mean, he
that-
never was
that-
supposed to be speaker to begin with.
No, that's it. Yeah, but you know, going through those COVID years, you know, nobody ever wrote a manual on how to do that. You know, and he maneuvered through it pretty well. You know, and then you know, the next election, we ended up with a very small majority, fluctuated between, you know, 7 and 2 and stuff, and you know, virtual attendance majorities, and you know, he maneuvered through that too. You know, get some good stuff done. We did lose some things, but certainly not his fault when people are getting up and leaving, you know, at 3 o'clock, and you know, so you still got 20 bills left. You know, that was really that was tough to see, and but you know, giving him a shot with a decent majority, I think is probably going to be the right thing to do. You know.
And do you believe that Jason Osborne will stay on as majority leader?
The only monkey wrench that could get thrown into that is if Len and Sherm come to an agreement. But he's done a fairly decent job. You know, I think he's done okay. You know, I wouldn't pull my support from him. You know, I'd support him, and you know, we've got a lot of work to do. You know, and it's going to be an interesting 2 years. I think the state of New Hampshire is going to really benefit from it.
So now that you've been re-elected, what are some of your priorities for the next term?
I've got 3 bills right now, but I was talking to Commissioner Edelblut, the Education Commissioner, and you know, there's some things that he's kind of frustrated about, and you know, we want to straighten things out there. You know, get some legislation passed to help him.
Before you finish answering the question, just before I forget, do you believe that Kelly Ayotte will keep him on as governor?
Yes. Yeah.
Good. I really hope
Yeah.
so.
I've asked her about it, and she said yes. She said if he wants to stay. So, and but Frank's been really doing a bang up job under some real tough conditions. You know, we've even in Derry here, we've got some teachers that are doing things they shouldn't be doing, and I've had complaints from a couple constituents, and you know, we've got to get things straightened out. You know, there's no two ways about it. You know, we've got a school committee election coming up that you know, we've got a chance to take over the school committee and get some sanity back into the Derry school system.
And we need people.
Yes.
We definitely have one. And keep in mind, next week they're also going to be appointing a new member
Yes.
on an interim basis.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 people that have applied. It's Tom Carden, Jennifer Thoreau, Karen Rand, and Jenna Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
3 names are well known, 1 is not, and the one that is not well known is the one that I'm pulling for, Karen Rand.
Well, I think I would too. You know, I'm not a fan of the others, but you know, their politics, not as human beings, but their politics. You know, we've got to do better here in Derry. You know, fiscally the schools are a mess. You know, they want to blame the state reps every time they turn around, but yet they you know, they have created jobs that amount to a good piece of change, from what I understand, that aren't even in the budget. You know, and that falls on the taxpayers' back. You know, some things don't get done that were supposed to get done when you do that, and you know, I'm not a fan of that. You know, if you put together a budget, you better have a real good excuse for straying from it, and they don't. So you know, I really want to see a lot of change in that school committee, and it's going to take some time.
And another question that comes to mind, and kind of playing devil's advocate, but kind of not. I do not agree with these people, but there's a faction in Derry, and really in most of the towns, the larger towns in New Hampshire right now, that are very upset at the state reps for, you know, all the adequacy stuff. Do the Derry state reps, or any other state reps, do you have a plan to answer their concerns, or at least, you know, give reasoning as to why you're not siding with them?
I don't think it's fair to have a well-managed town subsidize a poorly managed town. I don't care whether it's Derry, Amherst, Manchester, whatever. If your school committee is not well managed, I can't see some forcing another town or other taxpayers to subsidize it. It's just a moral obligation to me, I guess. You know, we need better management.
Yeah, and I don't ask that question because I agree with them. I just know that it's going to come up. Like,
Yeah.
you're probably going to get a lot of calls and posts about it. You and all the other state
Sure,
reps
yeah,
in
yeah.
Derry and other towns.
Mhm.
They're going to keep fighting that.
Yeah.
I know they will.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a thing, you know, they renegotiated, or not renegotiated, but they negotiated a new school bus contract. And their thing was that, you know, Derry is too big. There's only 2 companies in the state that can handle it. Well, as a small business owner, you know, it immediately dawned on me that why don't we break the school district into 4 districts, 4 sub-districts? Then you can get get more companies bidding. That'll get a lower price for the people of Derry. You know, that kind of stuff just doesn't dawn on them, and you know, then they scream at us. You know, they want more money. Well, you know, use more common sense.
And one last local state question before we move on to the U.S. elections, and keep it somewhat quick because I want to have time to talk about that. Do you think Derry should be a city?
What we're doing is broken, and if we can't fix it, we've got to try something else. And you know, it'd take a lot of work on a new charter. You know, even if we stay a town, what's broken has to be fixed.
We can look
And-
at Salem as a
and-
really good example.
Yeah, and you know, and if it takes, you know, going the city route, so be it.
So moving to the U.S. stuff, they did just call one of the really tight Senate races. Wisconsin did stay in Democrat hands for the
Mhm.
Senate. That was a really close race, though. Eric Hofty did a really good job taking on Tammy Baldwin, longtime incumbent.
Mhm.
But he got much closer than people thought. It's still not called in Michigan between Mike Rogers and Alyssa Slotkin, I think her name is.
Mhm.
And I believe, and then Arizona, but I don't believe we'll win in Arizona in the Senate.
Mhm.
But I was very surprised at the margin that Trump won by. I had predicted him to win from the beginning,
Mhm.
especially after he got shot in July. Once that happened, I kind of knew they can't beat him.
Mhm.
There's no way they'll beat him. And I'm with the majority of America. I underestimated him again. I didn't think he'd win by this margin. And they're still counting. They haven't called Nevada or Arizona. That's 2 more states, and they're both, I believe Trump is leading by 5 points, and he lost both of those states last time.
Well, you know, once people started looking at policy and got away from the personalities, you know, it's to me it's a no-brainer. You know, Trump had to win. You know, this current administration is look at what they've done to the family pocketbook. You know I can't afford to go out to eat the way I used to. I can't afford to do the things that my recreation budget has been really slashed. You know, my lifestyle has changed. You know, they've devalued the dollar. You know, it's I say it all the time that inflation is an intentional tax on the poor and middle class. You know, the people that struggle all the time get whacked the hardest by inflation, and overspending is what causes it. And, you know, a lot of people just don't understand that. They want to go with the greedy corporation line, and you know, nothing can be further than the truth. You know, their dollars don't go as far as they used to either. So, you know, if we had some restraint in government spending, inflation will come down.
And electorally, the wall, quote, they used to call it the blue wall, but all 3 states have gone red, so it might be the red wall now, or just the wall, in case it goes back blue at some point. But Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, they always vote as a block. If one of them is Democrat or if one of them's Republican, the other 2 will vote the same. Happened again. Trump took all 3. And he was, by some people, expected to lose all 3.
I think the economy played into it. You know, nobody can afford to do the things they used to do. And you know, people are sick of it. And under President Trump, I know, you know, I'm retired now, but my small business was thriving. You know, I never had so much money in my pocket. You know, spendable income was high under President Trump, and you know, under President Biden here, it's been real tough. I don't have to tell anybody.
I think a lot of these pundits forgot after Biden dropped out. I think they forgot just how unpopular he was. But magically, when Kamala became the nominee, suddenly they're all popular, and suddenly they're the front runners. That doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. You know, she would have been the first president ever elected that never got a vote. You know, in the primary.
Yeah.
And you know, there's something wrong with that, if you ask me. But you know, she played a part in this administration, the administrative mess that it is. And you know, because I don't think Joe Biden was making too many of the major decisions. I think maybe there was some others that were in there making those decisions for him, and you know, it would have been a continuation of the disaster that we've got today.
Yeah, it's insane that Trump was underestimated, including by me. But I'm talking about the polls here. This is the 3rd time in a row he was underestimated in polls.
Yes.
He was underestimated in 2016 when he shocked everyone and won. Even though he lost, quote unquote, he was underestimated in those polls as well. Even assuming those numbers were accurate in 2020, he still did better than they projected.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is his best showing yet. He even won the popular vote this time. A Republican has not won the popular vote since 2004 with George Bush. McCain, Romney, and Trump twice could not do it, but 3rd time Trump did it.
He's a workaholic. You know, he's eating it. You know, I understand on the day before the election, he was out at 2:00 in the morning campaigning still. You know, the man's 78 years old and you know, still out there. You know, going hard. And you know, I look forward to, you know, another 4 years of him. You know, I look forward to another 4 years of prosperity, and you know, another 4 years of peace. You know, people overlook that, the job he did in the Middle East, you know, with many peace treaties and stuff among these smaller countries and stuff.
There's a large list of foreign leaders that have already congratulated him on the win,
Yeah.
from as close as Canada and as far as even China.
Mm-hmm.
Leaders are congratulating him,
Yeah.
and everything in between. And one final thing on that. I mean, I want to thank all the voters that could actually vote, because I can't vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a say in this at all. But I want to thank everyone that could vote for protecting me,
Mm-hmm.
for protecting my friends, protecting my generation. You helped us quite a bit, so
Mhm.
thank you.
Absolutely.
And I guess one last thing, what's your prediction for the next few months?
I hope it's a peaceful transition. I hope, you know, we don't have groups of angry militants out there destroying cities like we've had in the past. You know, I hope we can return to sanity. I'd like to see America come together again.
So do I, and if you look at those margins, even in some blue states, Trump only lost New Jersey by
Mhm.
5 points. He only lost Minnesota. And keep in mind, that's the one that's been blue forever.
Mm-hmm.
Only lost by 3 points.
Yeah.
We're making ground in blue states.
I
So,
wish we would in New Hampshire.
I mean, we even did better in New Hampshire than some people thought.
Mm.
Like, even I had predicted Kamala would win by 5.
Mhm.
Trump only lost by 3.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I think the big thing that you know, they still sold the abortion issue, and people don't understand. You know, as far as any federal office, the Supreme Court took that out of the federal government's hands. It's a state's issue. You know, Kamala Harris had no business using that as a campaign promise, because like I said, the
Clearly
Supreme
it
Court,
didn't work.
you know, she convinced many in New Hampshire. You know.
So we're almost out of time, so if you have any closing statement, go ahead.
Well, I want to thank the voters of Derry, you know, for electing me again, and you know, I topped the ticket again, and you know, it's been nice. It's been an honor to serve. You know, I put a lot of pride in my constituent services and stuff, and you know, always helping people that you know, feel like they've been wronged by the government, whether it be the town or the state. I've got my nose into some federal stuff, and you know, it's always an honor to do that for people. And thanks for having me on, Anthony.
Thank you for coming on, and congrats on your win again. And
Thank you.
I'll close by saying one more thing. About Trump, they lied about him. They spread false rumors on his agenda, Project 2025.
Mhm.
They tried to impeach him. They tried convicting him of crimes. They tried to kill him.
Twice.
Twice. And they tried knocking him out of the election. They couldn't take him down. And now he has one more term. He's not running again. He's
Mhm.
term limited after this
Mhm.
term. He's got one more term, and I think it's going to be a great term.
Mhm.
And with a Republican governor in New Hampshire and a Republican state house and Senate and a Republican U.S. Senate and to be determined, but possibly a Republican U.S. House, it's going to be a good 2 years
Mm.
for New Hampshire and America.
I'm
But
looking forward to prosperity.
so am I. I'm Anthony Henry. This has been America's Ass. Thank you for watching.